Yeah, hi, Natasha. Right. So when you meet landlords with especially, development or for that matter, any kind of deals, right? Your job is not to give them answers. An odd answer is fine, but it's about keeping them in a mystery to what we are capable of and are going to do with that building. Okay? Because if you give them answers, they don't need you after that. Why would they need you? Okay? Mostly, most landlords that you'd speak with, they're too busy with their own, working life or whatever, or with kids, or you know, but they don't have the time. But at least most of them wouldn't have the time to be doing, planning or stuff like that. But if you start giving them answers, they don't need you after that. Even when you create an appraisal, you never show them the appraisal. That appraisal is like a negotiation tool for you, okay? Not for them. If you give them the appraisal, you will not hear from them back again. They will never answer your call, okay? Because they've got what they need, okay? They can easily hire a local planner and apply for something, okay? Because that would be all on the spreadsheet, okay? So don't give them answers unless it's an occasional one and they start to feel where you're not really giving them answers and keeping a mystery. Let them feel it. That's okay, but just not too much of it either. Okay, it's just a balance of the relationship that you need to keep. At the same time, when you look at any deals, Anil, I think you've got to a point, at least to some extent, where you're able to see through what can be done. But at the same time, make sure that you read the national policy and the local policy. Okay, because if you haven't read it, you'd be making wrong assumptions. Okay, you might turn up and say, well, we can get 10 flats here, while the council may be looking for 10 houses. Okay. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're not making those assumptions, and you read the local policy, understood the map. Map is critical. Reason for that is
So your
a
voice
lot
is
of these
breaking.
deals.
I don't know if it's me or.
Can you hear me, everyone? Yeah. So yeah. So and it could be just your connection. So make sure that you've read the local policy as well as the understood the map as well as the accompanying notes, because when you look at the map, especially a lot of these deals also come on the borders of these maps. When you look at something and say, well, this is just inside the boundary or outside the boundary, can make a very, very big difference. Okay, so make sure you read that and understand that aspect of it as well. Okay, it's just all of that is common sense when you start reading it. Okay, right. I wanted to cover the ecosystem. I will do some of that so you can see through. Natasha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Right. Basically, what I mean by ecosystem is how do you generate those leads? How do you negotiate, close them? How do you profit from them? How do you raise money and rinse and repeat? As in raise the money for the deal and then rinse and repeat, as in give the money back to the investors and then being able to use the same money again to do the next deal. And this applies to either a development deal, either a block deal or a hotel deal. It doesn't really matter what kind of deal that you might be looking at, but how do you create that ecosystem? Okay. Now, I will take the blocks and the hotels first, just so you can see through. Okay. My idea is very, very simple. Choose a location which is high traffic, because blocks and hotels do not make money unless they are very high traffic zones. Okay, so first pick a high traffic zone. Okay, for example, I'm in Windsor. The highest traffic here would be Heathrow. Okay, it won't be Slough. Well, it is Slough as well, because Slough has the biggest trading estate in Europe. Okay, so when you come to Slough ever, you see loads of hotels. They're mostly full because of the trading estate. Okay, but Windsor is high traffic because of the castle. Can you see where I'm going with this? Right? But the question is, when people come to Windsor for the castle, do they actually stay here for the night? And my understanding is they don't. Okay, they don't. They may stay a 1 or 2 night, but they're not here for a longer period of time. So traffic in Windsor would be very limited. There is foot traffic for restaurants and cafes and stuff like that, but there's not going to be a lot of traffic for hotels or blocks. Okay, that's just an example for you. Okay, Blackpool, highest traffic in the country for a beach town. Okay, I think they have something like 1.7 billion spent every year, and something like 22 million people turn up every year, just in a small town. Raise your hand if you see what's happening here. Yeah, I opened a room yesterday at 7:15 in the evening. My cutoff time is 8 o'clock, so I only had 45 minutes to fill the room. 20 minutes later, I filled the room. Okay, just because it's a very, very high traffic area. Okay, now that also means that there is off-peak season, right? So when we hit tomorrow, which is the last day of the season, right, from the 1st of September till the 31st of March, it's off-peak season except the school holidays. Okay, so that's the time when you depend on the local workers. You attract people that are elderly or people who are single or double but no families, because you're not really going to attract any families except the school holidays. Okay, so this is the stuff you need to be aware of. And then when it comes to closing deals, right, it's again a very simple formula. If it is a high traffic region, make sure you're connected with the estate agents. Make sure you're taking leads from us, for example, if you're focused on that region. Yeah, and then local networking. I mean, if you were to go on, for example, Blackpool, which is where our commercial properties are, the number of groups, like Facebook groups alone, there's probably over 100 of them with 10,000 plus people. Some of them with 100,000 people. Okay, and I'm a member of every single one of those groups. Right? Either they're focused on guests, either they're focused on traders, either they're focused on hoteliers or blocks or whatever it is, right? They have some sort of focus, and every step of that focus is something that we need. So my profile is joined on that. Okay. There's one group that I'm observing lately, which you will see in many regions, which is one group with 45,000 people focused on purely guests. So you get like every day there's more than 10 people coming and writing, I'm looking for these dates availability. So we go and write there, okay, we've got multiple locations, give us a call. We attract at least 1 lead a day from there. Imagine 1 lead a day times 365. That's 365 times, let's say each lead is about £100. We are attracting about 35,000 pounds worth of business just from one Facebook group. Okay, and remember, my cost of acquiring that lead, zero, because a virtual assistant is doing that. Are you with me? Okay, so at the same time, there are groups which are focused on hoteliers, there are groups which are focused on estate agents, right? So to generate a lead, as in the sense of when you're acquiring properties, that's easy. Acquiring a customer is easy. So all of it becomes very easy when you are focused on one region and leveraging proximity. Raise your hand if you know what I mean. Yeah. So I'm connected with all estate agents. I'm connected with all the hoteliers or most of the hoteliers. I'm connected with loads of professionals in the region. I'm connected with loads of local workers in the region. So generating even the acquiring lead is not very difficult. Okay. So the last one that we agreed, which is still under legals, we should be completing any day now, is 16 flats. And that deal came through an estate agent. Okay. And I especially make calls to estate agents, like I know them personally, the heads of the estate agents, the owners, and I tell them, look, now I'm looking for a deal. Do you have something that you can show me? Okay. And then I make those calls as and when I'm ready to acquire the next one. Okay. As well as leveraging my own network. I have a connection with a guy who is a linen supplier. He also manages one of my hotels. I've asked him to introduce me to any of the hoteliers that he's connected to be able to see if they're looking to sell. Okay, so it's all about creating your own personal network in the region. So when the right deal comes, it lands in your lap. Everyone on the same page with me? Yeah, that's your ecosystem of acquiring. Similar with raising funding. When you look at PEN, right? There's a full-time person doing networking. There's a full-time person doing marketing. There's a full-time person doing research at the moment, right? There's a full-time person looking after the channel managers and all the hotel systems. There's a full-time person making calls for a market validation of an idea that we're working on, like a PMS. So all of this is delegated, but at the same time, it's all about creating a bigger so it's almost like the growth of the ecosystem. Okay. Likewise, there's a person generating development leads, and now we are at a point where I'm taking her to the next level of due diligence. So now I'm showing that virtual assistant on how to do further due diligence on development leads. But at the same time, all of this just an ecosystem that's created to grow the actual ecosystem based on development leads, development deals, block leads, and hotel leads. Okay, so everyone clear on, so raising funding, right? Raising funding, right? So how do I raise funding as and when I need it? Okay, very simple. Full-time person doing networking. So there's people joining WhatsApp groups on daily basis, right? I'm making changes, making tweaks, also slowly improving every day, right? So when someone joins the WhatsApp group, the admin needs to approve. So I'm the only one who's approving that at the moment. I only approve that when I've sent them a personal message to give an introduction and then get them to know each other and then book a call with them. That way, I get to know if they're investors, if they're looking for more deals, or what is it that they actually want. Growing the network, growing the investor database. Can you see where I'm going with this? Can you see how it's done? Yeah, this is done on daily basis, right? They are inviting people from Facebook. They're inviting people on LinkedIn. I think on LinkedIn, we send about 200 messages a day. On Facebook, it's regular networking that's going on through multiple groups. I'm a part of nearly 900 plus groups. And we are running paid ads as well now. That's for the hotels. We are also running paid ads for the PE and as well now. So the people are joining, and then we pitch them as and when we need for the money. Okay. Okay. So that's the money part. Acquiring the lead part of the hotel and blocks I already shared with you. How do I make it profitable? Let me show you the ecosystem a bit further. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Can you all see my screen? Now, this is our channel manager. Can you see 4 properties here? Can you see 4 properties here?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I click on any one of them, let's say I click on the Clarendon, and if I scroll through, can you see this is the 30th of September? Oh, 30th of August, Saturday. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Right, now look at the occupancy today. We only have 2 rooms available today. The rest are all full. Can you see that? This is all the marketing that we are doing on booking.com, Expedia. Booking.com is booking.com, Agoda, and I think they have a few other channels that they own as well. Expedia owns 200 plus channels across the world. So as soon as you put it on Expedia, it's literally on 200 channels. Then we are on Google. We are directly connected with Google. And then we have our own landing pages, which is on the PEN website, which is connected to Google. So you could write our property name on Google, and then you will come across this landing page, Nowin, Clarendon, Belrive, and Osprey. And then you can click on any one of them, for example, and then you're able to book directly with us. Okay. if I go back on the channel manager again, and if I switch from that to, let's say, Novin, and you can see August 2025, this is Saturday, we are full today, and you can see the occupancy rates pretty much 100%, right? 90 to 95% occupancy rates there, okay? That's because it's peak season, okay? And it's likewise with other hotels and properties as well, okay? And there's a full-time person working on marketing, on systems, including me. I'm working about 20 to 30% of my time in the last 40 days of school holidays. I've been working on this purely because it's very, very profitable at this stage. And then obviously it starts to get quiet in September, and then the virtual assistant can pretty much look after the whole thing. I may only do maybe 10 minutes a day, but the rest of the time he can manage. But that's really making sure that your deal is profitable, okay? Or the deal that you require, either a block or a hotel that's profitable. Everyone clear on the journey of the very basics of, I've not covered as much detail yet, but everyone clear on the basics of acquiring a deal, block or hotel, raising funding, you're networking, you're attracting people, you're pitching them, depending on the percentage you pitch them. I normally start from 6% per annum, and I would pay anywhere between 6 to 12%. I have never paid more than 12% per annum. There are people who pay that. I don't, because if you do, what you will observe is that you're paying too much to the investor and you're making very little money for yourself. Okay, but that's how we attract more investors. We are literally, like I said, pitching about 200 people a day on LinkedIn alone. And then when those people join WhatsApp groups, we are nurturing those relationships further to be able to pitch more. We are attracting the leads as and when we are ready. This is the block and hotel management leads. And now down to, so everyone now clear on the very basics of the hotel and block leads. I can dig deeper into the operations. I can dig deeper into the marketing. I can dig deeper into how do you structure the funding. I can dig deeper into every aspect of it. But everyone clear on the basics? Yeah. Now to development deals, right? Again, the way we acquire them is you already have the leads. My observation has been, hi Anil, I'm now covering so I was just asking Anil, everyone clear on the basics of the block and hotel management leads? Deals?
Yeah.
Are you clear on that? Like I said, if you ask me to dig deeper into the marketing, I can do that. If you ask me to dig deeper into the operations, I can do that. If you ask me to dig deeper into the sales and standard operating procedures, I can do that. If you ask me to dig deeper into every aspect, raising funding, how do I structure the funding, I can very easily cover every single one of them in separate sessions. But I just wanted to make sure that you're clear about the basics of it. Natasha and Anil, are you clear on that? Okay. Remember, I have a shadow day on the 2nd of September. I'm yet to announce it to the network. I've not done that, but I'm just sharing it with the internal members. Okay. So 2nd September in Windsor at 12 o'clock till 5 o'clock. Okay. Now down to the development deals. How do we find these deals? Here is my observation, which I have not shared previously. When I take my own leads, which we generate in-house, exactly the same as you get a sheet, and I go and now work in that region, it's not just about the leads that are on the sheet. It's what I see besides it or opposite that or close to that proximity. Yeah. So it's not just about that lead that you see. The number of times I pick on a lead, I go to that region, and that lead may or may not be the best lead or deal, but something across the road or something close to that deal comes about, and I go and pitch it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see that? So it's not just, remember, the purpose of those leads is they're like prompts. They are like the potential. Now they may or may not in and itself have the potential, but something close by may have more potential. Don't hesitate, guys. right? The Slough deal that I shared with you, I've agreed at a 2.2 million option agreement, which we are looking into right now. I only came across that because I had other leads on the high street. I picked up my own sheet. I went to the high street and I came across this deal. Okay, and that's through an estate agent. So I didn't pick on one that was on my on my sheet. I picked one which was something else altogether, but with an estate agent. And that was you. Okay, so that's your acquiring lead. So don't just look at. Remember, one of the things that I learned was, if you want to really find the most profitable deals, walk and bike around. Okay, even take buses. I'll tell you why. When you take a bus and you sit on the second floor, or sorry, the first floor of the bus or the top floor of the bus, what you will see is something that you never see, which is what does the top floors of the buildings look like? Okay, and what you will come across is commercial to resi deals, right? Vacant offices, right? Stuff that you do not ever see when you're on the lower floor, on the ground floor. Okay, so when you're traveling, don't hesitate taking a bus. Go and sit on the top floor, on the first floor of the bus, and observe for vacant offices. Okay, walk around, take your lead sheet, walk around. You'll be surprised at how many deals you'll find besides what you see on the sheet. Okay, or bike around. You know, when you bike around, you see loads of stuff around. I have come across more deals like that than from the sheet itself. Okay, so use the sheet, obviously approach the landlords, do all of that, but also keep your eyes open around for the deals around it as well. Okay, okay, so that's your, again, make sure that you are connected very tightly or very heavily in your local region. Makes a very, very big difference. If estate agents know that you're looking for deals, if already the local landlords know that you're looking for a deal and this is what you can do. Imagine you come across a landlord who lives at a property, but you don't know if this landlord owns other properties in the region, right? You'll come across landlords who own 10, 15, 20 properties in the region. Okay, let them know what you're capable of doing. Unless you don't let them know, you'll never attract business, right? I can't remember, someone was sharing that I went to a networking, I think, Anil, it was you, right? When you said I went to a networking event and I said to people, this is what I do, and all of a sudden I had quite a few people approach me. Yeah, that was you. But so let people know. Let people know. Make sure your LinkedIn profile reflects what you do or what is it that you're looking for. Okay? Because people look, literally, when people speak to me, the next thing I see is they've gone on my LinkedIn profile and checked what I do. Okay? And LinkedIn actually shows you that someone checked your profile. Okay? So you can go and check that the person checked the profile. Then you can connect with them on LinkedIn as well, saying, oh, you checked my profile, I spoke with you, let's connect. Okay? So make sure that you are using proximity in your favor, to your advantage. Okay? Once you start to create the right network around you, which is what we've been able to do across the years, right? We attract the deal when we need it. Okay? Last month, this was about a month ago, this was at the start of, at the end of July, that I actually sat down and wrote, I'm not looking for any more deals for now. Okay? Just because I had too much on my plate. I had one deal going on, second deal under legals, both deals agreed. At the peak season in Blackpool, I just said I'm going to stop. Now that we are off the peak season, we are about to close one of those deals. We are working on the Slough deal. I'm now going to open myself at the end of September to more deals. Okay? Reason I just shared that bit is understand your balance. You don't want to over promise yourself and then feel overwhelmed with work. Okay? It's all about creating that balance in your work schedule, like literally scheduling stuff and saying, do I have more time for another deal? If the answer is no, don't take it on, right? But at the same time, using proximity and leveraging that in your favor and creating the right network. Okay? And then within that network, you attract investors, especially for development deals a lot more, right? I've been using funding for development deals and BRR deals a lot more than I've used for hotels. Mostly hotels and blocks, we've been using mostly our money. There's only a little bit of leveraged money from an investor, but most of it has been our money. We can leverage for them as well. But again, like I said, network plays a big part in raising money as and when you need it. At the same time, when you look at development deals, make sure you have the right consultants around you, architects, planners. Nav, I'm going to come back to you. I know you've sent me. I've not had the time. I will be looking at it hopefully tomorrow, day after. I'll come back to you. But you want to surround yourself with the right consultants. Like I said, local planners. I said local planners, not planners from another council or somewhere else in the country. Local planners, people who have dealt with that council, understand the council, understand the politics, understand the officers, maybe even personally know some of the officers. You want to connect with those people so you can leverage that when you are in front of the right deal. Please raise your hand if you see what I'm talking about. Okay? And please do not miss the point of local politics. When you look at council officers, you'll be surprised. A lot of that of planning permission depends on the local politics. You need to start attending local planning meetings, understand the politics, understand the person behind that person who's going to sign that planning for you. Okay? This is your homework.
So Jack,
yeah.
Will there be local planning meetings? I never knew that. So there will be community local planning meetings which you can attend.
Yes, you can
register and attend.
They are public meetings. Yes, they're public meetings.
Okay.
They're called committee meetings.
So that's how you connect with. That's how you connect with local planners, council, housing planning.
They won't speak with you. They're not going to give you an answer without an application. But when you attend those meetings, the committee meetings, what you will start to understand is not just the politics, but the person behind it as well. What is it that they are inclined towards? Are they, first of all, you look at their age. Are they old school? Or are they youngsters who are progressive and open-minded? Or are they just old school, 50, 60 years old, and some of them closed-minded about progressive planning? So you need to be aware of all of them. Okay.
And, how else do you connect with local council people and planners?
That's the only way that I know of.
What happens, there's a committee meeting every 3 months, right, in all the council. And they have all these projects. On that day, they'll deal with those projects. And that's the time you can go and listen to what they say at the committee meeting. And they'll discuss whether they're going to approve it or recommend it on that day. Okay. It's called planning committee meetings.
Okay.
It's called planning committee meeting. Yes. Yeah. I've only attended a couple of these, but I will be attending more in the future. But yeah, it's understanding the person behind it is mainly that's the main thing, because if they are, my observation has been that if they are youngsters and they have this progressive thinking about or open mind about planning, then there's a lot more you can do. While if you come across one which is old school, which is more of them in the councils, they are not as inclined towards approving certain kinds of planning. Okay, which makes it difficult. Also, one of the first steps you see in the planning gain steps is the planning approval ratio. If the ratio is like 20% approval and 80% rejection, then you could be wasting your time in that council. Okay, this is the stuff you need to check online. It's stuff that's difficult to find either. In some councils.
Visually also, Jack. If I just go around, I know things get approved is you suddenly see blocks of apartments starting up out of nowhere. You know that there is a higher chance of you getting an approval as well, because you would never imagine a house, suddenly it's got a construction board on in front of it, and then the apartments are being built. That's very new to us in this council. But that means there has been an accelerated approval of permissions.
See, you need to understand there's three, four steps that you need to understand, which is in the planning gain sheet, which is one is understanding the demand in the region. Second is understanding, are they progressive towards it? As in, are they actually approving more and rejecting less? Or the other way around, like the approval ratio or the rejection ratio? And understanding the politics, very, very important. Because once you understand that and you start to see the local planning policy and you look at the core strategies, you will start to get a feel of it. I also always say you need to understand the pulse of your business, right? If you put me in the space of when I'm working on a deal, I'm always trying to feel the pulse of it. Okay, am I going to get something here or not? Remember, logic is one thing, something that you put on a spreadsheet, are we going to get planning or not? But at the same time, using your creative and intuitive mind towards all of this and all of that, a lot of that is sometimes driven by when you read those notes, the local policy, right? And the accompanying notes. When you start to read that, don't forget on the accompanying notes, it will in most cases say, what is the council looking for? Are they looking for more 1-bed flats? Are they looking for 2-bed flats? Are they looking for 3-bed flats? Are they looking for townhouses? Are they looking? What is it that they're looking for? And you need to play from that point. Okay, you want to give the council what they're asking for, not give them what they don't want. Let's say they want 2-bed flats, and you're giving them 3-bed houses. What do you think is going to happen? The likely is they're going to reject it. The likely is they're going to reject it because they want 2-bed flats. They want to put more people in the region. But if let's say they want 3-bed houses and you're giving them 1-bed flats, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
they're going to reject it. Okay, give them what they want. Okay, that's what you call understanding the pulse of your market and your business. Okay, give the market what it wants, not what you want to give the market. Shall I repeat that?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Give the market what it wants.
Left and then keep right.
Sorry, whose navigation is that? Give the market what it wants, not what you want to give the market. Okay? Right? That's your acquiring a development lead. How do you make it profitable? Right? Here is something which I always share, right? If you're working on a planning gain deal and you are going to make, let's say, a bare minimum of £100,000, just a very bare minimum, like you're not going to, I'm not talking about $500,000, I'm not talking about $250,000, I'm talking about 100 grand, right? You're going to pick up this house and you're going to apply for a 12-meter extension and you're going to apply for a loft. And this is going to add planning value of 100 grand. Okay? But you're not going to develop it. If you develop it, maybe you'll make another 200, 300,000. The risk is involved more of when you're first buying the site, and second is when you're actually developing it. Because on the first step, you're actually paying to buy, and on the third step, which is you're developing it, is the risk. There's lesser risk when you're not buying but taking an option, and there's a lesser risk when you're just doing the planning and not developing.
Jack, I have one question. So if I approach someone off-market deal, I tell them that, okay, I'm going to offer a good price to your property. I want to buy it. Okay. And they say, yeah, buy it just in 3 months. Then we don't have an option. Then we got to buy it, right?
Yes. So if you come across a deal where the person is not prepared to give an option, I would do a very strong due diligence on it, create an appraisal, see if it really works or not. And if it works, I'll buy it then.
Okay.
Okay. Remember, you do not want to give a deal up just because someone doesn't want to do delayed completion. Okay. But you only buy it when you know it's definitely going to make a decent profit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time, remember, I'm trying to reduce the risk involved in these steps. But that also means that if you follow the steps, as in you do not buy and you do not develop, you're going to also reduce the number of deals you're going to do. Right? So you want to make sure that you don't end up losing a deal just because you have to buy it. That's okay. We'll buy it. If it's the right deal, we will raise the money and we'll buy it. Okay? But at the same time, I am always inclined, I don't want to buy it. Remember, the leverage you have is, okay, this deal is up for $500,000. We will pay you 10% over and above the asking price. If they put a deal up in the market, remember, guys, they're always going to get slightly less than what they're asking for. Okay? Either 10, 20, 30, 50 grand less. We are coming and saying, we're going to give you not just the asking price, but we're going to give you 5 to 10% more than the asking price. Okay? Now, what you're doing is, here's what you're doing. You're taking that 10%, 5 or 10% that you're going to pay a finance company, a bank, when you buy it, and you're now handing that 50 grand or that 10% or 5% to the landlord. And you're saving yourself the deposit money. Raise your hand, see where I'm going with this, right? When you agree an option
Could you
agreement,
please, could you please repeat that, Jack? Sorry.
So,
Your
Anil,
network,
when you
yeah.
agree an option agreement, when you're negotiating an option agreement, what you're doing is you're saving the money that you're going to pay a bank when you borrow debt, and you're passing that interest on to the landlord. But you're not telling them. You're only telling them we're going to pay you 5 to 10% overage on the deal. Your overage profits are passed on to that landlord, but that overage you've already saved in paying the interest if you have to buy that deal.
Yeah.
Okay. But it saves you that deposit risk. You're not buying, it saves you that deposit risk. If you have to pull out from the deal, there's a reason it's called an option agreement deal, because it has the option for you to pull out.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have less risk on you. So it's all about going into the deal and then trying to create that option for you so you have less risk on you. But again, if they still don't agree, which in many cases I've seen people agreeing because you're actually giving them an overage and they're now about to get maybe 5 to 10% more than the asking price, they tend to agree. But in some cases, if they don't agree, then we just go and buy the deal as long as it stacks. Okay? We agreed on a deal which was £800,000. This was in 2017, just because they won't agree on an option agreement. And then we ended up agreeing another one, which was the 1.11, which was an option agreement. And then now this is the 2.2 million one, which is the option agreement I've agreed already. Okay, so you can see that this is physically being done by me. I'm happy to share more details with you when you come around on the 2nd of September or another session or whatever. But I can share more details with you on how these are structured, the agreements behind it. I can share with you every step of the way, which
that's brilliant.
Personally.
I really want that, Jack.
Yeah, so I can share that. Yeah. My challenge is that I have to remove the personal information from it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Ask me that next month. I will try and remove the personal information and give you that agreement. Okay.
That's next week. It's September.
Yeah. I if you give me a task, it doesn't happen immediately. It takes time. Okay. Yeah. I have too much on my plate. Right. That's your development is right. The first step of acquiring a lead. Right. I can dig very much into your appraisal, which I've done in many other sessions as well, but I can do it again if you want me to.
What's an average cost of appraisal, Jack? 3,000, 4,000?
Anil, it's very expensive. If you give it to a company here, on a deal of like even 6 or 7 units, it can cost you something like £5,000 to £10,000. Yeah. they are very time consuming. And you might have observed the planning gain steps that I shared with you. Imagine going through all of those steps. Okay. I am now at a point where, the first step of acquiring leads is done by a VA. Now I'm at a point of giving them the second step of due diligence and training them on that, which is again very time consuming just to even train them. Okay. But I want to make sure that they're trained, it is recorded, and then it is recorded for other people to watch, not just watch as, you watch and understand, but for other VAs to understand as well as and when we have. Okay, so we are at that step now. I am personally, as a company, we are at that step now. Okay, so I'll be doing more videos of due diligence, digging into it, recording them, and then keeping them, like I said, not just for internal but external purposes as well. Okay, but they can be very. So imagine if you look at a deal that has 50 units, like 50, let's say 50 flats, you could be paying somewhere in the region of £100,000 just to do an appraisal. Yeah, they can be very time consuming. You might have to hire multiple consultants to get answers. There's loads of stuff.
Heathrow Airport, terminals 1, 2,
Right.
and 3.
So that's
and
your
then keep left.
acquiring development leads. Further due diligence, being able to find investors to be able to raise funding. And then it comes to making the planning application. Again, I will be doing another session on that as well at some point. I don't want to do it now. Okay. But I'll cover slowly all of these aspects over the next few weeks, few months. Okay.
Any one of you going through development deal leads, like you're there and you're going through it? Any one of you?
So I can do that when you come across on the 2nd, if you come across on 2nd on the shadow day.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that second because I have a working day. But yeah, I'll definitely look into it first.
All right.
I can make it.
Nav, any questions at this stage?
No, just saying about Anil. If he wants me to send that site to me, I'll have a quick look at it in terms of like a proper just a general estimate, but it's pretty accurate. I just have in terms of architecture. If you say how many units you want on that site, send me the site plan. I say, look, Nav, I'm looking for 15 units. I can put A, B, C, D as what to do in terms of the appraisal.
Okay.
Yeah, just and what the brief
Thanks,
is.
Nav.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Thanks, Nav. Thanks.
Amir, any questions? Natasha, any questions?
In 1 mile, move to the left and then keep right.
Now, guys, Natasha, any questions?
No, thank you. I'm all
Right.
good. Thank you.
Now, this was just a general, very basic overview of the ecosystem. Okay. I will start to dig deeper into every aspect of it for you going forward, so you can see through the phone. Okay. Good stuff, guys. This is today's session. Have an absolutely amazing day.
Okay. Thanks, Jack.
Enjoy.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye. Bye, Damir, Anil.
Bye-bye.
Bye.